Hey and welcome, I'm Hammeh, and some interesting lore news today, as well as a potential update on Hero 27 teasing. I will run you through the news, the new blog, which is a letter from Torbjorn to his wife Ingrid after Operation White Dome, the teaser that we received starting the Hero 27 hype train the other day. I'll go through what we learned from it Overwatch lore-wise, and then finally talk about how it might tie into Hero 27 as well. So firstly, it looks though we're going to be getting more little bite-sized nuggets of Overwatch lore, perhaps I would hope a little bit more often. This blog was announced as Story Update to the official lore archive of Overwatch, an ever-evolving database giving us top-secret clearance to a classified collection of art, footage and decrypted documents. Discover the history of Overwatch, its enemies past and present, and the bios of your favourite heroes from both sides of the fray. You can see this over on playoverwatch.com, the official Overwatch blog. Now, whether or not that's written in-universe, I'm assuming it's not, Overwatch lore has been moving a little more slowly since the end of last year, given that Blizzard are recruiting right now for an Overwatch writer, who's also going to help compile, research and construct Overwatch story and lore, write comics and all kinds of things. If the job description goes that way, what a job that would be. I think that things, hopefully with that news, are starting to pick up a little bit of pace in the story department, so this announcement is awesome. Now, it's interesting to announce this story update potential series right now, given that it's slap bang in the middle of Hero 27 teaser time, but we actually, from this blog, from Torbjorn talking to his wife Ingrid in a letter after Operation White Dome that we were teased the other day, we actually get a few nice things about Overwatch and its lore and a little bit of context. So let's quickly run through the story of the blog first and then analyse it for what we learn. The blog is a letter from Torbjorn to his wife Ingrid. We learnt her name at Christmas in some voice lines that dropped into the game, talking about the injuries that he sustained in Operation White Dome, talking about Angela visiting him in hospital, and perhaps a little bit more context as to Angela Ziegler's relationship with the Lindholm family, talking about Reinhardt, his role in saving Torbjorn's life, and also his kind of relationship with the Lindholm family as well. Lots of interesting things in here. So getting the obvious out of the way first, in this blog we can see that it is when Torbjorn lost his arm. It's specifically name checked. The doctors say that he's going to make a full recovery. Torbjorn says that he's going to make it his first priority, construct a suitable prosthesis that will make everyone forget that it was ever gone. Well, we can see what Torbjorn has ended up with on his arm. However, remember of course that in the Reflections Christmas comic we see him with a hand type of prosthesis as well. So when Torbjorn's talking about it in this letter, he's probably not talking about his work prosthesis that he drops molten metal out of, more this one that we've seen previously in Reflections. Secondly, I really love this blog. It kind of backs up some of the stuff I said in my last video, and if you haven't seen the Operation White Dome teaser, have a look at my last video. It's linked here and in the description below, about when this particular White Dome operation was dated. I speculated that it was probably more towards after the end of the first Omnic Crisis, so it could be up to, let's say, 26 years ago from the current day in Overwatch's timeline. Now, without delving into timelining, I've talked about it in that previous video too much, it's roughly 6 to 7 years from Overwatch's present day to when Morrison went missing and Reyes went missing in theory in the Swiss HQ explosion, which was roughly the end of Overwatch, and then Overwatch was said to have kept the world safe for roughly 2 decades. That's where this 26 or 27 years back for the end of the first Omnic Crisis is roughly speculated from. Now, the previous White Dome Twitter teaser that we saw said that the operation led by Anna Amari with Reinhardt, Torbjorn and also Emre Sarioglu was tidying up a pocket of remaining Omnic resistance. Now, that wording sounded very specific and made it sound to me as if it was close after the end of the first Omnic Crisis. We actually get some more context in this blog as to when this Operation White Dome took place because of what Torbjorn says to Ingrid about Angela. Now, Torbjorn says that at this point Angela's tissue regeneration thoughts are dreams, and by that it doesn't sound as though they're reality. So she hasn't created her technology that she's famous for yet. She is younger here. She's probably nothing to do with anything Overwatch at all, and Angela is visiting Torbjorn, not treating him. That kind of contextualizes probably means that this was certainly in the early days of Overwatch as an organisation after the first Omnic Crisis. Now, if you believe that the first Omnic Crisis was around about 26, 27 years ago that it ended, Mercy would have been roughly 11 at that point, as she is 37 in present day in Overwatch's story. So wherever Mercy is that she's coming to visit Torbjorn from, we do know that she had involvement with Overwatch before she formally joined the organisation. And this brings me on to my third interesting point about this blog, which we see more about Angela or Mercy's relationship with the Lindholm family. Now, we've had lots of teasers and suggestions before that Torbjorn has kind of maybe taken Mercy under his wing somehow. For example, just this Christmas 2017, Mercy said that she really missed Ingrid's apple pie to Torbjorn. We also see Mercy's kind of familiarity or ability to joke around Torbjorn in the slightly problematic since Arna Origins trailer image that shows a bunch of Overwatch members together, as well as a very young Farah and presumably a pretty young Mercy. Now, we have of course been told that Mercy was not a member of Overwatch or working for Overwatch at this point, but she is certainly around and familiar with the heroes in a similar way to the way that Farah is here as being Arna's daughter. It has been said since that I believe Morrison, Reyes, and also Arna should look a little bit older in this image, but Mercy doing a V sign above Torbjorn's head makes it seem as if she can get away with this in terms of having a familiarity with him in some way. So although we still don't know, that's speculation on my part as to why Mercy is in this image, the Torb connection now makes even more sense with the way that Torbjorn talks about Angela to Ingrid in this letter, if you put the dots together. He says, "If only Angela's dreams of tissue regeneration were reality, I told her she should be working harder." You know, that's Torbjorn talking about Angela in an almost sort of mentoring father figure, sort of caring kind of way. Now, I went off on a bit of a wild thought just now and thought, it sounds as though that Angela's so close. I wonder if, you know, Mercy was adopted by the Lindholms. That's complete headcanon and speculation on my part, but you know what? If she isn't part of their family in a sort of official adopted sense, she's very, very close, it seems, to Torbjorn and Ingrid, that they talk about her in this kind of way, and she came to visit him when he just lost his arm. So it seems that Mercy has certainly been taken under the wing of the Lindholm family, if nothing more. Okay, next thing I found pretty cool was a bit more about Reinhardt and the Lindholms' sort of relationship and close friendship. Torb is still able to joke about Reinhardt after losing his arm, maybe keeping his spirits up for Ingrid there, of course, and we see here, and this is the bit that leads on to the Hero 27 stuff maybe, Ingrid right now is expecting a baby. Now, we know that Torb has a lot of kids, maybe some grandkids there that we see in the Reflections comic at Christmas, but it seems to be a daughter from the rest of the context of the letter. Torb mentions Reinhardt naming his daughter potentially if he would actually shut up, and Reinhardt took him literally. Torb was considering making Rein the godfather and hadn't sort of talked to Ingrid about this. He apologises to Ingrid for it, but says we can only hope she doesn't take after him too much. Oh dear. Torbjorn finishes up by saying to Ingrid that he said to Reinhardt Ingrid would have to approve of any name that he chose, but Torb has a little confidence in Rein to actually think of a good name due to the outlandish names he uses in his quote true stories. So Reinhardt still being a bit of a storyteller even before he was telling the tall tales that we've seen in the Overwatch Junkenstein's Revenge Halloween comic. So that brings us to point 5, Hero 27 territory. Now, it would be a bit of a funny time to announce this Overwatch Lore blog series, this seemingly extra pieces of lore that are being shared with a series, and then starting it with something to do with Operation Wipedown that Jeff the other day on the forums directly said this is something pretty much to do with Hero 27. So why would you start with this article talking in this way and not have it as part of sort of the teasing the hype for the next hero? Now, if you like that train of thought and you think, you know what, they wouldn't do that unless it pivots a, you know, third angle away again. We still have maybe a week if last year's Orisa timeline is anything to go by before we might see anything PTR-y. Who knows, unless Blizzard are really stepping it up for next week. I'm going to bite on this and say that really Torb is talking about their daughter, talking about Reinhardt naming her, talking about a godfather. It's got to be Brigitte, right? And if they're talking about Brigitte, then this could be swinging towards Brigitte as being the next hero. She could fit a tanky, she could fit a hybrid type hero. People have thought of loads of cool abilities for her. We don't know, this might be another bait and switch like Emre was the other day. Even if he's still a bait and switch, we'll just have to wait and see. There has been, of course, a little pattern of Overwatch heroes between unexpected and fan anticipated. So Arna was kind of unexpected, shall we say. We then moved forward to Sombra, who was very, very anticipated. We then had Orisa, unexpected. Doomfist, very, very expected and anticipated. Then finally we had Moira last BlizzCon, kind of unexpected. So this one could be, if we're going with that pattern, kind of a fan favourite. Brigitte would really, really fit the bill there. So what do you think of this blog? Do you think it could be moving towards Brigitte or Brigitte, depending on how you want to pronounce it, as Hero 27? Do you think it's just a nice additional piece of lore? I really, really liked a lot of the details in here. Tell me what you like in the comments below. Throw a like or subscribe if you enjoyed this video. It really, really helps me out. And thank you so much for tuning in. If you like Overwatch lore and like going through it in this kind of detail, I have done pretty much everything to do with it on my channel. So please have a look at my playlists, going through skin lore, having a look at animated shorts, comics, and so much more, as well as voice lines and interactions in these playlists here. Cheers for tuning in. I've been Hammeh. Take it easy.